There is a movement that has deemed patriarchy a bad word. And women have been, quote unquote, liberated so that they don't need to follow the leadership of men. A patriarch is a man who rules autocratically over his family. And this is the method by which God chose to lead families, which are themselves in turn the building block of our society, and therefore God's economy. The family, make no mistake, is under attack today. And feminism is one of the most subtle lies the devil has incorporated into this full-on assault on God's design and on God's family. In the past few generations, a very seducing, deceptive spirit has crept into our culture and even our churches. And he questions the wisdom of God's chosen hierarchy. Why would God do this? Maybe God's a sexist. Be not deceived. The lie of feminism is 100% an assault on God's order, authority, his hierarchy. And the end result has never been about giving women the vote or equal wages. It has and always will be about the complete destruction of God's family and his order. God has decreed that men are his representative authority in this world, and that's why they are in the crosshairs of the feminist movement. They need to be assassinated, according to the feminists, because their very sex represents God's authority on this planet. And that's why there is an anti-man underlying theme within the third wave feminist movement. Men are biologically inclined to lead. They are divinely sanctioned to lead, and therefore they are a target. The feminist message essentially is helping to create the chaotic conditions needed to usher in Lucifer's New World Order. They are trying to break down the nuclear family. And then when no one has that direction, that confidence, that training, that upbringing, that security, they are vulnerable to attack by Satan. They are then more likely to follow him into the age of Aquarius, the dawning of a new world order. They do not merely want the vote or equal pay. Ultimately, they want a complete reversal of societal norms, the dissolution of marriage and family, and an all-out war with God himself. That is what the devil is up to. That is what he's been up to since the beginning, since the Garden of Eden. Why do you think he targeted Eve? He was trying to circumvent the order that was already established. He didn't go to the spiritual head of the family. He went to Eve. He said, make a decision. And she did. And in that moment, she became both the material and the spiritual provider of her home. And mankind was doomed. Because that was not her place. God never intended for her to have to make that decision. That's what Adam was there for. Women have been promised liberation and freedom from oppression, happiness and fulfillment once you achieve your full potential, going out into the workforce, leaving your children behind. And what do they find when they get there? They're not happy after all. And meanwhile, their children are sitting at the seat of the scornful. Their husband doesn't have a warm meal. He doesn't have the nurturing support of his wife. There is no real nuclear family anymore. Everyone's off at the softball practice or at the game or at the concert or at the office. And there is no more family. They're just sitting there vulnerable, confused, frustrated, and being taught the Luciferian plan for the future. Feminism says that you can have it all, right? Women, you can have the family and you can have the career. Anything a man can do, women can do, plus have babies. That is nonsense. If you try to stretch yourself between these two, you're not going to be good at either. And that the devil knows that. Feminism has left in its wake a complete loss of identity for women. They don't know who they are anymore. They're trying to compete in the world of men. Some of them do okay in terms of monetary compensation, but for the most part, even to this day, I would say, in my opinion, women have still not yet attained to the commercial heights achieved by men. So when they enter the world of men and try to act like men, don't expect for them to actually be any better than men at being men. And what's worse, they don't know what to do when they get home. They can't fully keep their children under their control. They can't keep their home. They can't keep their husband. They can't tend to the things that God has equipped them for because they don't have the time. They don't have the energy. They're split between two worlds. They think they can have both. And in the process, they've lost both. And so they're depressed, they're unfulfilled, they're frustrated, and the home and the family suffers. You know, the Bible talks about in the end times people being without natural affection. I believe that's what daycare is. When you make a choice to go into a career and leave your babies behind, that is without natural affection. And your children will suffer for it. Don't lie to yourself. Children do suffer from losing out on that motherly love that God equipped women to have. I'm here to tell you, women are vital in God's economy. They are not equal with a man. They are special, and they have lost their specialness. Women are no longer special in society, and now they are wage slaves. They are slaves to discouragement because they're not in their biblical sphere. Feminism has robbed women of the blessings of God by simply letting them overlook them. We're all familiar with the verse, Psalm 127, where the Bible says, "Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord. The fruit of the womb is his reward." Women are to be child rearers and homemakers not as a curse, but as a blessing. That's supposed to be God's reward on them. And feminism has come along and said, oh, you're being oppressed. You're tied down to those children. You can't reach your full potential. And now they look at God's wonderful blessings that he gave them and they say, I have a horrible life. They're like paupers sitting on a pile of gold, not even realizing that they're wealthy. This is the happily ever after for a godly woman. He maketh the barren woman to keep house and to be a joyful mother of children. Praise ye the Lord. Praise ye the Lord. He makes the barren woman to have lots of children. He gives her a kitchen to cook in. He gives her a house to keep. That is his blessing on you. And feminism has robbed that from women and told them that it's a curse. And now they go out looking for blessings that aren't really blessings, they're curses. And they're not sure why they're so unfulfilled in life. They don't know why they're so depressed. They don't know why they fight with their husband and get divorces, why their husband goes off and has an affair. They don't know why their families are wrecked, why their children don't love them and want anything to do with them. Because they have rejected the blessing of God. And they have sought their own selfish blessings that are indeed a curse. Woe unto you, the Bible says. It is a rebuke and a reproach and judgment when women rule over us. It's a judgment on the women when women rule. They have lost their fulfillment, their identity. Child rearing and homemaking are considered inferior. Now think about this. It was not God, it was not the Bible who said homemaking is an inferior thing. It was the feminists. True biblical Christianity elevates the woman to her rightful place of glory as God's nurturer of the man, as God's child rearer, of God's homemaker. It was the feminist movement who said, you should be ashamed of yourself. What do you mean you're just a homemaker? Feminism tells them that when they're a woman, they have no worth. It tells them that their only worth they can accomplish is in the world of men. Women, when they give to their husbands, when they make a good meal for him, when they train up the children and invest their lives into raising those children, that is where they find true fulfillment. It's better to give than to receive. Feminism teaches it is better to receive than to give. Hollywood has completely assassinated the woman. It's completely gotten rid of the godly woman. And in its place is a career woman who doesn't listen to any man. She frequently corrects the man. He's usually portrayed as a wimp or a crazy man. Did you know that in almost every Disney movie there is either no mom, she's been killed, she's been captured, or she's absent, or she's a wicked stepmother? Why is that? She's certainly not a housewife because, ew. Here's a few movies from just Disney with prominent characters whose mothers are killed, captured, or absent. Bambi, The Jungle Book, Pinocchio, Peter Pan, The Sword and the Stone, The Rescuers, The Great Mouse Detective, Oliver and Company, A Goofy Movie, The Rescuers Down Under, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Pocahontas, The Emperor's New Groove, Lilo and Stitch, Ratatouille, Tron, Big Hero 6, Snow White, Cinderella, Enchanted, Dumbo, The Fox and the Hound, The Little Mermaid, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Tarzan, Atlantis, Finding Nemo, Brother Bear, Frozen. The list goes on and on and on of movies that just, guess what, don't have a mother. Why? because there's no place in the devil's economy for a godly woman who is everything that she can be, who holds up her man and makes him everything he can be, and who protects and trains up her children to be the most godly people that they can be. And therefore, women today have no godly role models. They don't even know what they're supposed to be. Even women in the church often don't realize what they should be. And so they themselves, while not identifying as feminists, are not fulfilled. Women are given by God the ability to be something that men can never be, and they should be it. They should strive to be the best women they can be, to be nurturing, to be loving, to be compassionate, to be homemakers, child rearers. When a woman embraces her God-given role, she finds fulfillment, respect, she finds joy, and she finds honor as she excels and grows in that role. But when she leaves it, she can no longer appreciate the blessings of having children, of helping her man, of making a house into a home. True happiness comes in submission to our God-given authority. And the feminist attack on the patriarchal system of God's family is an attack on the woman. And it is an attack on the structure of the home and of God's blessings on us all.